Cps-Pod. I'm Stephen.
I'm Colin.
I'm Phil.
And today we're in the Red Door restaurant, or bistro is it?
Red Door Bistro.
Red Door Bistro in Wigan, town centre.
Just off Library Street.
What's it called? College Avenue?
College Avenue, yeah. Down College Avenue. Wigan's best kept secret.
Lovely little venue, excellent food, great hosts. If you're in Wigan, check it out.
Yeah, amazing. They just fed us all and very happy. So, yeah.
It was very nice. Well, growing up, I grew up in the mid-70s, early 80s and that.
Very similar.
Yeah,
Similar
same.
age.
Say we're all similar ages.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what did you do as a kid growing up? What you
I lived
got
in
up
the countryside in the middle of nowhere in Kent. So yeah, school holidays was. Everyone used to love the school holidays. I used to hate them because I'd see none of my mates.
Right, so
It was like 2 miles to the next house
Yeah.
and things like that. So it was just me and my brothers and sisters, 2 cousins, and that was it for 6 weeks. All you'd see. So yeah, I was used to hate school holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I grew up in Skelmersdale. The original house I lived in, there was woods in front, like literally pavement flags, about 3 pavement flags wide, and then a big woods in front with streams in and things like that. We used to have a field day in there. We had BMX courses, we used to do tree houses, swings, zip lines, you name it.
Yeah.
I don't know how I've had more injuries than I actually had in my life, so yeah.
I grew up in a place called Highton, Liverpool. Back down there it was a bit rough, but you learn to adapt and live where you are, and you have good friends and everything. And I used to go out on my bike all the time, and bike rides. And you have any bikes yourself? When you?
Yeah. Been through a lot. The old Rally Striker.
Was that the silver one?
No, it was, there might have been a silver one, it was black, mine.
I remember the boxer.
Yeah.
The grifter.
Grifter with
With
the
the
big,
gears.
with the big huge seat.
Yeah,
Grifter.
and the gears on
But
it.
that was the chopper, the big huge.
Chop had the
yeah.
big. No, the Grifter had it was about. It seemed to be really wide, and it was only quite short. It was still long.
Yeah.
But the chopper had the big L shape.
Yeah, and the little gear lever in front of you, and that was
Yeah.
the chopper.
So the Striker was the junior version of the Grifter. So they were the same kind of bike. But
Early BMX almost.
Yeah. Well, possibly mountain bikes. If you looked
Yeah.
at them these days, they're probably mountain bikes.
Did you have any accidents when you were on your bikes as kids?
Nothing serious. Fell off loads.
Yeah.
I can remember that. But
Not a bike, skateboard though.
I had 2 accidents on bikes.
Go
Coming down a place called Liverpool Road, and there used to be a CF college, CF Mock College, now it's all houses. Coming along on my bike, and the curbs are angled like that, so you're coming along one-handed, come off, and fell across where the bus tin and bus lay by. It's all like gravel track, and I took all the top lip off.
Wow.
So I took my lip off and ride my bike home crying, and people back then, like, don't know if people weren't afraid, you'd like, I want to help you. So I'm riding my bike along crying, this woman's at a gate, just comes over, grabs me, takes me and cleans me up, and then takes me home, and I have to go and get a tetanus.
Yeah.
So I wasn't impressed with getting the tetanus, because he said, where are you going to get your tetanus? I said, in your leg. No, your bum.
I've got, I don't know if you've ever noticed, I've got a big scar above my lip. It's a dog bite when I was about 8. It was a friend's dog at the time, and sat stroking the dog, and then next thing he just went for me. That was horrendous. That was
No stitches and everything.
full stitches, the lot.
Yeah.
I've got one little scar up here somewhere.
Yeah.
That fell over, hit my head on a stone. And I say we lived in the middle of nowhere. I think my mum used sellotape and like sellotape it back together to keep it together. And then
Butterfly stitch.
Then we eventually went to the doctors with it. And the doctor went, stuck together now. Seems to have done a good job, so they just left it.
I had one more accident on my bike. Well, it was actually on my sister's bike with my friend, and we're driving down a place called Wolfhall Heath, and there's a roundabout. It was a tall roundabout. I was on my sister's bike, and you pedal up the hill and then you pedal down it, and cars are coming and vans are going. waiting for this van to go past, and it was like a council wagon. It had a low loader at the back, and I thought, I've just cleared it out, it's gone. I come down, and the brakes went, came down, and had a trailer on the back. I hit the trailer, so damaged the bike and everything, and I was a mess. Put the bike in the back of this council wagon, and took me home, and these little lights flashing on it, and I was about 8 in there thinking like, it's just the things that you remember as a kid, when you're not scarred for life, but you sort of
when I was, I think I was 14, because we lived on a farm, so it was on private land, so it was legal. I had a Mini, my own car, and one night in the pitch dark, we had a lot of track and farm tracks and that we could drive along anywhere. I was doing some silly amount of speed, and I'd ended up spinning, I don't know how many times, ended up wedged across the ditch. Despite that, my mate who sat in there, he hit his head on the side window and smashed that. He had blood coming out, and I'd hit the steering wheel and had cracked ribs. And a driving test the next day, actually. That was a different accident. I'm on the wrong one. This was 14, yeah. No, this was a different accident. I've got to get mixed up then. And so we won too bad, and then so it was pitch dark. I opened the door to get out. Hadn't thought about it. It was wedged across the ditch. And I got out, stepped out, obviously there was nothing there, and went in and ended up in 6 foot of water.
I never had an accident on a bike. Skateboard for me. So we're the era of when skateboard become popular to do freestyle stunts and things like that. I was pretty good at it. Yeah. I was going to one of my friends. I used to live in an estate in Scam called Esbrook. I was going across to either S-Bank or Estdale, and there was a road, and I was about 14, 15, so my own fault. Really giving it welly, and I ollied off the curb. Now, do you know what ollie is, where you kick the board and you jump? Yeah. Right, and jumped into the middle of the road, but didn't look if there was any cars coming, there was bushes. Next thing, got hit by this Austin Metro. Do you remember the Austin Metros? Yeah. Got hit by that, knocked all my teeth out of the front. Most of my teeth at the top are all capped and things like that. Knocked front one on the right completely out, never found ever again. The one to the right up. Ended up inside here on my face, Another 2 twisted, 38 stitches in my gums.
How much you got for Tooth Fairy for that?
Do you know what, right? So, you like your jokes and stuff.
Didn't affect his talking.
No, not at all. But the guy who hit me, right, 100% my fault, but the guy who hit me was a milkman, right? He was out on his round to go and collect all the money at the time. When I went back to school about a week and a half later, like I cracked bones and stuff, but I was alright. Didn't spend a night in hospital. I was very, very lucky. When I got back to school, the story was I got run over by a milk float, right? And I was like,
lost his milk teeth.
I was like, I would have been stood there for about 10 minutes, while the milk float was like slowly coming towards me. Yeah. But that's
so we had all them lectures when we was kids. Got to be careful on your bike and whatever. And the only ever bike accident, sort of any of us had, was my nan. And she got knocked off her bike by a car, and it was her own doctor driving the car.
Yeah. So she obviously wasn't much the Green Cross Code.
No.
But the times are different then, weren't they? I mean, like toys that we had were like practically indestructible. Do you remember the Tonka toys?
Yes. Yeah.
They were known as the indestructible.
Yeah. We used to the yellow tipper truck. Yeah. We used to sit on the back of that and go down the hills on them and stuff. They were made different. They were made to last.
Well, you'd make a go-kart out of anything you could find.
Pram wheels. Pram wheels.
String.
Bits of wood, string to steer. And then send yourself down the biggest hill you could find.
Yeah, with no brakes.
No brakes. Yeah.
No brakes, taking a stop.
But it was just so different back then, wasn't it? They obviously didn't have computer games and things and stuff, so you had to try and make your own.
We used to get thrown out, not thrown out, but told to go out and play at 9 o'clock in the morning and come home at 5 o'clock for your tea. Yeah. And there's no phones or anything like that, and we used to go home.
And make sure you come home before it's dark.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. You went out for your tea and then you were back out again.
Yeah.
Jumpers for goalposts.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember doing that.
know, we were lucky where we were because we had lots of fields and things, so always playing football, played cricket when I was younger, not officially, just on a field. Somebody had some stumps and somebody had a bat, and then we used to go and play. Do that
Have
all
you
day.
played much sports, like,
I played
get quite good at it?
football for the school and that. And, with that, when I worked for a haulage firm, I went to Austria and played football against BMW in Austria. We put the engines with the engines. So we were in Austria playing football 11-a-side, shin padded up and everything to play. And after that, I mean, the bottom of the pitch was a big, massive, like not canal, but like a river, and the mountains were everywhere. It was nice scenery, and a fire station was there, and you get the ball. If it goes too far, you're going a long way to try and get the ball back.
Yeah.
So I'd say I was in the school teams for football. I had a trial with Gillingham when I was 16. But in Kent, Gillingham was the only sort of professional football team.
Yeah.
So that day I had a trial, so I did about 300 others, and they like took on 2 or something like that. So that was it. That was football career.
So I suppose that was an international, I suppose, wasn't it? Playing in Austria.
I was good at athletics, believe it or not. I know it doesn't look these days now, all three of us were very fit young athletes at the time. I used to represent West Lancashire throwing the javelin. I had trials for England juniors to represent them. One of the events that I was at, he was a senior at the time, but it was Steve Backley who represented the UK for that. So thrown at the same event. I think I was actually 15 at the time, and I got told to come back the following year because I was throwing against like 17 and 18 year olds, and at 15 you're less developed, but I got something like 13th out of 33 or something, and they said you need to come back next year, your body will be more developed and stuff. And that was the time I discovered beer and girls, and it just slightly went downhill from there. Never went back the following year.
No.
I could have been an Olympic athlete instead of recording podcasts and flying drones. So.
Yeah, I had a little go at golf once for a while.
I play golf.
I play golf.
I'm not very good at it.
No.
I hit a ball far, but I could never do the short game. And the short game's where
the approach, and I couldn't do that. I can't lob it in. I can't.
I could never use a driver. The ball used to bend like a banana.
Yeah.
So I'd aim that way, knowing it would bend like a banana that way, and you can guarantee as soon as I aim that way, go dead straight.
Yeah.
And
I used to play golf with my brother-in-law, and I could always drive it as far, if not further than him. But he could name the blade of grass where he'd stop it on the green when he would like wedge it in and stuff like that. That's where the money's earned. That. How about snooker? You ever play snooker?
when I was young,
Yeah, you play snooker and pool, yeah, you enjoy that. But then you play in some places and you're just renowned for people wanting to have smoke. Not smoking cigarettes, but having a proper smoke. And you're in there and it's just hazy as the light's coming down, it's just a haze everywhere. And you're trying to play snooker and you're thinking everyone's getting stoned and that, and what I mean?
The other sport I played when I was younger was petanque. French balls, silver balls. There's a proper name for it, petanque. And
never heard of that. Never ever
played that. And a story there is the European Championships were being held in Kent, and they had like qualifying events. Bear in mind, there were 6 divisions in Kent, pub teams. We was in Division 5. And the only reason we was in Division 5 and not Division 6 was because there'd been new teams joined and they made it Division 6.
Right.
That's the level we was at, so not good.
Yeah.
And so they had these qualifying events for the European Championships, and one of them was being at the pub where we played.
Yeah.
So, we're all into this, be a good laugh for the day.
Yeah.
And and it was an awful day. It was raining really hard. And we got to our first match, and someone said, we're playing the England captain and the England vice captain. Oh, great. This is me and my ex-father-in-law. And anyway, because of the rain and whatever, it started late. So we come out to play, and it was first to 13 points, and we beat them 13-1. They'd been in the pub all day.
Right.
They're not bothered about, they were qualifying anyway, so it didn't matter to them.
Yeah.
And So the next game they're like, well, these are like England's second like best players, but we played the best two, and then same story. They was both hammered as well, and we beat them. And this was basically the story of the day. And we got to the final of this qualifying competition and played against two other people from our pub who had same had been happening to them. And the decent players couldn't be bothered because they didn't want to get wet. So just sooner we lose, sooner they can stay in the pub.
Got the hair wet, I'm sure.
And
The hair for them.
so we won.
Yeah.
And so me and my father-in-law ended up in the European Championships.
Right.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. That's amazing.
And we got hammered. We were absolutely beat silly by two 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
Is there any sports you've never tried but would like to try? See, I've, like, obviously while you think about this, I've always wanted to play crown green bowls. Yeah. But I'm only 50, I'm not old enough yet, so I'll try that.
Yeah, I've had a go at it.
Right, I'd love to have a go with that, right? And then the other one, curling in the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, that appeals to me actually.
I don't know if it's like I'd want to fire obviously the stone down to try and hit the target, or be the brusher. And I just love watching it when it's on that. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not something I go, I really want to watch it, but if it's on the telly, I'm like fascinated by it.
It's funny, like that petanque, it is quite tactical, and there's a player who do all the rolling it up to the jack, get it close, and there's someone who bombs one down to get knocked the rest out of the way, and I always love that bit. Yeah. That was my job.
Yeah.
I could never understand billiards. No, as a kid.
Strange.
I played pool and snooker, but I'd never understood billiards.
No, where you could just like tap it as long as the cue ball touched both balls, and then that was 2 points.
There wasn't many balls in it either, was there?
Three, wasn't there?
Yeah, there wasn't many balls in it.
Never really seen it or obviously heard of it, but never seen it or studied anything about it.
It's the most confusing game going.
Yeah.
I used to enjoy squash and badminton. Younger.
Yeah, it's quite squash for me.
Table tennis, I always enjoyed at school.
I wasn't much cop at table tennis.
Did it once on a trip. There was a table tennis thing there, there wasn't much to do. School trip and had a few games, but now didn't really do much. But squash, used to like playing squash, that was quite good.
What about table tennis? I want them bats, what they used to bring in planes in. And they do that and saying, come on planes.
Where's the joke?
They are, aren't they? The paddles. Bats really everywhere.
They probably actually are.
Yeah, they like that, aren't they?
Similar.
Yeah. But also growing up, I mean, when you get to think it was mid-80s and the computer started to come on the scene as we were kids.
Yeah. ZX Spectrum.
Amstrad Cps-Pod was mine.
Well, the Spectrum, the first one was a keyboard, wasn't it? Yeah. Was that the 48K, was it something?
Yeah, it was.
It was the full check.
Yeah.
And then the posh one was the 128K.
That's what I had with the tape
player on the end.
Yeah, I had that one.
So that was basically the precursor to the Amstrad CPC 464.
Yeah.
Slightly more advanced.
Can you remember putting a game in and they're like, press play, wait for
10 minutes.
About 10 minutes for the game to load, and then it'd fail.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, and obviously today's generation won't appreciate this. When you talk about pirating games and things like that, we used to have 2 tape decks, just copy and record and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like when you used to record the top 40 music as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And there'd always, at the end of a song, there's a high-pitched squeak as you press record because you're trying not to get the DJ
and stuff. Talking and announcing the songs.
Yeah, and then missing a slight bit at the beginning for the next one.
But also computers, you mentioned the Amstrad 464, but then the Commodore came on the scene.
No, that was before the 464. There's the Commodore 64.
Well, they had the VIC-20. I had the VIC-20.
Yeah.
And then the Commodore 16, and then the 64.
Well, the 16 came out after the 64 because I got the 16 after the 64, but it was a less powerful one.
I had the VIC-20, which was the weakest one.
It was. Well, the 16 was less powerful than the VIC-20.
It wasn't.
Was it?
No.
Was it?
It was VIC-20, and then it was the 16 and the 64.
Yeah, but I know like the 16 couldn't do as much as the 64.
Yeah.
Because I had a 16, but it was released afterwards, but it looked the same.
It did. Look the same. Yeah.
There's a good channel, obviously promoting somebody else's channel again, called Just Jamie, right? And currently he's doing a series of, like, he'll take games like Bubble Bobble. Do you remember Bubble Bobble?
Yeah.
And he will compare all the versions at the time. So he shows the arcade version and then he goes from worst to best. So, like, you know, the MSX. You remember the MSX, the Microsoft MXS computer, or the BBC Micro?
Yeah, the BBC Micro,
Yeah, we had them at school.
Red buttons on the orange buttons on the top.
BBC B or something.
Yeah, so it'll go like the worst version, which will end up being one of them, and then it'll go like the Amstrad, then the Spectrum and stuff. And it's just great watching how bad some games were we were playing. Like one of my favourite arcade games ever was Outrun. Do you like Outrun? And stuff. And I remember having that on the Amstrad. I think this is great. And then I seen it on this review thing, and he went through all the best versions. I think like the Amiga or something, or the Mega Drive was the best one.
Yeah, the Atari ST as well, same time as the Amiga.
Yeah. But looking how poor the frame rates were on the Amstrad one, I just think it was amazing at the time. It's like being in the arcades.
But in arcades as well, I used to love arcades. And Operation Wolf, remember that with the Uzis? You had the Uzis and you had that. And then you was Chase HQ.
Yeah, I remember Chase HQ.
You had Porsche 928 and you're chasing the baddies.
Well, that was based upon Miami Vice, wasn't it? But they never got the license for Miami Vice or the Ferrari. You're chasing along and you got to take out the bad guys. That's where things have changed now. Arcades aren't like that anymore, are they? You go to an arcade now, immediately I said to use arcades, it's 2p coin machines and claw machines and stuff. Back in the day, it was like
proper games.
Do you remember the old Star Wars game with the line graphics and you had the controller?
X-Wing, didn't you?
Yeah. It's just, they were good days then.
And the thing is, now people will look at it and think, that's retro. Retro, because when we were kids.
Did you ever really, the early days TV games where you just had the paddle and the two paddles and the ball just used to go left and right?
But the thing is, those games were so bad, they used to screen burn, so they get lines in the screen and things.
Watching telly afterwards, you can see these lines.
So it was like, I'm a gamer, so I play loads of games. I still play lots of games now. I remember playing Pong, and then it would advance to the Atari. Do you remember the Atari with the joystick and the button?
Atari 2600.
And then the home computers came in, and then you started getting the disc-based ones like the Amiga, the ST,
Atari ST.
The consoles took over then, didn't they? We're now into PCs, gaming and stuff like that, but the consoles overtook the home computers.
They did, because they were just purely ready for it, and they'd load so fast as well. They had the Mega Drive at first, and then they had the, I think it was Atari Jaguar, stuff like that. It was different.
Yeah, the Jaguar was 64-bit, wasn't it?
The Saturn was a bit of a flop.
Yeah.
I had the Sega Saturn.
I had a Dreamcast.
So I had a PS1 and traded it for a Saturn because I wanted to play Sega Rally.
I wanted a PS1 and at the time you couldn't get one for love of money and ended up buying a Sega Saturn because I could have one there and then. I think I got the PS1 the day it came out. I got it with Wipeout and it's a Battle Arena to Shinden, which is a 3D fighting game. And it was the first one. I got it from the Sony Centre in Wigan. I was the first one to have a broke PS1. The lens went on it within hours. I had to bring it back, and I had to wait. They had to wait a week and a half for them to get more stock in to replace it. There was one before the Mega Drive, Master System. Had that when it first came out, and it had I think it was called Alex
the Kid.
In Miracle World.
Something like something like that.
But so you had Master System, you had the Mega Drive, then you had the Saturn and the Dreamcast.
But at the time, I remember paying nearly £200 for a Mega Drive. Sonic the Hedgehog.
I remember the Dreamcast, you get the internet on it for the first time on a console, but it was really, really painful and slow when you look at the internet now.
Well, this is where it's all about us growing up, and this is where it's changed now, because kids now, they don't really go out anymore because they go home, they sit on the phones and Snapchat or Instagram each other, or they sit on the consoles and they don't go out, and you don't see kids playing out on the streets anymore like we used to. The estate I grew up in had 38 houses, and we'd be in and out of everybody's house. Like the kids, we were all roughly around the same age. We just all do stuff together. It just doesn't happen anymore.
So thanks for watching. Thanks to the Red Door Bistro in Wigan for entertaining us and hosting us for today. So really appreciate it.
It's been really nice.
So please like, share, subscribe.
See you soon.
See you
Catch you
soon.
next time.
Yep, thank you everyone. Cheers.